Hello.
Hiya, what's up, Zach?
What's up, Ronnie? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm great. So everybody, today on the podcast we have Ronnie McRosen.
Yeah,
How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm tired, but I'm good.
Tired. Why are you tired, man?
I was on set all day yesterday. I got to be in a project that I can't say about on this particular podcast because it's working for a company that is fairly litigious and will end my career before it begins if I say the project that it's on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that it's like particularly like a secret like it's a big project or anything. It's just like the company will like I got to get more extra work, and
Yeah.
if I say anything about it before the thing comes out, then it's going to be an issue.
Okay, I feel that.
Yeah.
Actor's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So Ronnie, just tell me about yourself. What are you doing, man?
I'm an actor, a hopefully podcaster in the future. I've got some ideas that I've been cooking up. Former YouTuber, in that I did it for 6 months my sophomore year of high school and then quit immediately. Didn't quit, I just kind of like fell out of it because I was tired of doing weekly stuff, and
You have to appease the algorithm.
you have to appease the algorithm, absolutely. And that was like right before everything like kind of went to shit, so it was maybe a good idea that I didn't go.
Praise be
through
to
with it.
Susan.
Praise be the Susan. Hail Wojcicki. Hail Google. Get all dem green dollar signs, no yellow signs in
Monetize my videos,
my box.
please.
Please monetize this man's videos.
All right, so yeah, just tell me, tell the listeners at home, where you from? How you get started into acting?
I am from a very small town in Massachusetts called Marblehead. The only interesting things about it are that Elbridge Gerry, one of our vice presidents, he was from there. Francis Black from the Pixies is also from there. That's like the only two really notable people from my hometown. But the coolest thing is that have you seen Hocus Pocus?
Of course I have.
Yeah, the beginning part of the movie where the kid gets his shoe stolen in the cemetery. That's the major cemetery in my hometown, Old Burial Hill.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We're like right next to Salem, so a lot of the stuff kind of just overlapped with Marblehead.
That's right. I remember when we first had this conversation, you talked about stories like in Salem, how
Yeah.
people you had tourists.
Oh my God, the tourist! You can't get so Salem, as we all know, is we all know about Salem witch trials, and because of that, it's a huge tourism thing for Salem, Massachusetts, which unfortunately means that every October. Well, it's not an unfortunate thing that they do all of this stuff because they do a lot of carnivals and they decorate the entire town and it looks really, really cool. The unfortunate thing is that it's when all the tourists come in and even the non-tourists, they all go out and they all do all of their nonsense. They just go out and get drunk most of the time, sometimes just during the day. And one of the only major movie theaters in the area of my hometown is you have to get through Salem to get to it. You cannot go through any other town if you're leaving Marblehead. You have to go through Salem, and you are not going to be able to get through Salem in October in under an hour. It cannot be done. The traffic is simply too god awful to be able to get through it. I had to drop off a friend. I had to drop off a friend at a Krav Maga one time. She needed a ride, so I'm I'm going through Salem. I can totally do that in time because I had to get to rehearsal afterwards. But I was yeah, I got an hour and a half or something. I can totally get you there in time. And then I remembered, oh yeah, it's October. I had a full hour and a half to 2 hours when I had from leaving school to get to the Krav Maga place and then back. It literally took the entire time. Not a break in between. I was planning on going home, grabbing food, and then coming back, and then that absolutely did not happen.
Sounds terrible.
It was the pits, but I love it. I am genuinely glad that I grew up there. It built, at least in the Salem area, I always felt accepted. Marblehead, maybe not as much. It's very it has 6 yacht clubs in 4 square miles of town. It's very, very Kennedy ass Massachusetts.
Very bougie.
Very, very bougie. Just as many if you go, there's this little area, it's off on an island right off the coast. It's called the Marblehead Neck because you have to you take a bridge and you have to get out there, and it's just house after house, just completely ostentatious wealth all around the place. And the unfortunate thing is that we always drive by it because when you're in a really small town like that, there's not a ton to do. So one of the things that you end up doing is just driving around. And we would go on this thing called a neck run where we would just drive to the Marblehead Neck and just drive around the island for hours and hours on end, just listening to music and talking and shit because we didn't have anything else to do.
So you just come from a small town
Yeah.
with a whole bunch of rich white people.
All the rich white people in the world.
And you just drive around their neighborhood.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
That was basically all we had to do. When I I didn't have that much time to do that kind of stuff, at least not until like the summers. And summers is usually when it would happen, but every other time I was either in acapella or I was in, there were 3 places where I basically lived during my high school years. And I was either in one of the theaters, either at the high school or at the middle school, because that's where the big theater was. I was in the film studio at my high school, just editing something for one of my film classes. I took film classes all 4 years of high school. Or I was in a rehearsal room doing acapella. I was in an acapella group all 4 years of high school. We were the Grizzly Freaking Man Singers. We weren't good, but we had the best energy out of all 4 groups.
That's all that matters.
We did it. We did a real good live show. That was the thing that was the most important for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the acapella group, where were you in terms of like?
We kind of got switched around a lot. So I'm a baritone. I can't sing really well, but I can sing enough to I can carry a tune. I can sing Green Day, and that's about it. But that doesn't really mold into music, into making a cohesive acapella group. So most of the but I was always good at beatboxing, so they mostly put me, or rather I mostly put myself on percussion for my last 2 years in high school. I was basically, whenever somebody was like, oh, we need somebody to do beatboxing for this one, I'm like, I'll do it. I will step up. I will take the microphone for that part. My guy.
So you were the beatboxing kid in your high school?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
I tried to be anyway. There are people there who were way better at it than I was. I was just most enthusiastic about it. That's kind of how I've been able to skate by in life. I've never been the best, but I've always been the most enthusiastic about what I'm doing.
Again, it's all
absolutely.
Yeah. So since we're on the topic of music,
yeah,
I know you in particular are a very big music.
Absolutely.
What are your favorite bands? I know Paramore.
Paramore is the greatest band of all time, and I will hold absolutely no word to the contrary. You can have your opinions, but your opinions are incorrect if it's not that Paramore is the best band that has ever existed.
And what's your 2 cents on that? Why you say Paramore in particular?
I just think that most of the stuff that I listen to is pop punk, and pop punk is great, but it's very simplistic. It's very it's mostly about the same kind of topics all over again. I hate my parents, I hate my hometown, my friends over everything, all that kind of stuff. And the vocals are usually really, really bad. But when you get to Paramore, you have much more complicated instrumentation. A lot of that stuff is really, really hard to play. It's still Riff City. It's still mostly the same kind of pop punk riffs, but they add a lot to it to make sure that it's more interesting to listen to. They focus on a lot more interesting topics, even just coming from a female perspective. I think that it lends a lot because pop punk again tends to be a more guy-centric genre. And just in terms of vocals, Hayley Williams is one of the best vocalists of the 2000s, if not the absolute best of the 2000s. I will absolutely stand by that. She's incredible. I got to see them twice in 1 year. I saw them at Riot Fest 2017, and then I saw them at Boston Calling in 2018 when I went home for the summer. And at Riot Fest, I was crowd surfing to their final song, and I got dropped. I've only been dropped twice while crowd surfing. Crowd surfing is actually a lot safer than people think that it is. But I got dropped. Luckily, I was right by the front of this. I was right by the barricade. Right before the stage, and I landed on my feet, which never happens. Usually you do if you fall, you do kind of land flat on your face or flat on your back, but you just kind of got to prepare yourself for that. But I landed right on my feet, and it was right as the set was ending, and people were starting to hand out set lists and drumsticks and everything, and I got the drummer Zach Farrow's set list, and right after Paramore, my plan was to go over to the main stage where Jawbreaker, a kind of prehistoric emo band from the 90s, they opened up for Nirvana. they were reuniting for the first time in 21 years. And then as soon as I got the Paramore set list, I said, Jawbreaker, I love you. You can go fuck yourselves. I am running home with this set list so that I can make sure that I get it home safe, and I will be buried with this piece of paper.
You are a very dedicated Paramore fan.
I love them absolutely to death.
I think like most people who are probably listening to this right now, they probably like grew up listening to Paramore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They've remained consistent in a way that, I think that's another thing. They've remained consistent and elevating their sound in a way that I think a lot of the other bands in their category kind of haven't. Like, as much as I love like the emo trinity that people always go back to is Fall Out Boy, Panic! At the Disco, and My Chemical Romance.
Mm-hmm.
And while I think that My Chemical Romance, I don't think they have a bad album. I think that everything that they put out is great. People will kind of crap on their final album, Danger Days, but I still think that it's absolutely stellar. But Fall Out Boy fell off hard around like 2017, 2018 when Mania came out. People will argue that they fell off when they came back in 2013 with Save Rock and Roll, but I love Save Rock and Roll and the album that they put out after that. But when Mania came out, like they just haven't put out a good song since, in my opinion. And then Panic! At the Disco, like they've still remain, they're incredible in the fact that they're like still having hits in 2018, 2019. Like High Hopes is like played on the the fact that High Hopes was played on the radio so much last year still blows my mind completely.
Mm-hmm.
But they've also, like, their last album I also thought was kind of but Paramore, all 5 of their albums, I think that they've grown in a way that 5 albums, yeah, all 5 of them I think are, for the different like styles that they put on, I think that they're the best albums in those categories. Okay. Absolutely.
So Ronnie, you are an actor in Chicago, right?
Yes, I am, sir.
All right, so you mentioned like you did like a lot of film stuff in high school.
Yeah.
So like, is that where you started, or was it like?
I started when I was about 10 in acting. Okay. My little brother, he actually got started before I did. He was in this little production of he was in 2 productions with a little theater company called Theater of Light that was based out of Salem, Massachusetts. It was run by this woman named Barbara, this like tiny chain-smoking woman who was she was incredibly sweet and incredibly, I am really thankful for her just because she gave so many kids in my area like that kind of way to express themselves. But he did 2 shows. He was in Hansel and Gretel, and he was in Charlotte's Web. And then I was like, I want to do this. And so my sister also wanted to do that. My mom signed both of us up for Wizard of Oz, and that was the first show that I did. And I just kept doing Theater of Light shows after that, and then eventually I was doing school plays at my middle school, and then high school I did all of the musicals, and then when I got out here I was just like, I don't know what else I really want to do other than this, so I came out to Columbia specifically because like it has such a prominent acting scene out here, where I figured while I'm in school I can still get that experience that I really need for being in New York or Hollywood, wherever I decide to go after college. I'm still not fully sure yet.
Yeah, I think Chicago just in general was like a good medium between the 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like you got the 2 extremes, you got Hollywood and you got like Broadway and whatever else like studios they got in New York. I'm not entirely sure myself.
Yeah.
But I think like a common ground like is like Chicago, where you kind of get both in a sense, where you got
absolutely.
people coming from like the West Coast for like jobs here, if they don't want to like, they actually want to like experience weather.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to live like right off the coast in like New York, but you still have like the Great Lakes, so still has that New York vibe, but it's still more inland.
New York is definitely like
it's a lot cheaper too.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper than New York. I really, really do love New York. I've never lived there, but I visited there a bunch of times. I definitely do want to live there at some point. I lived in LA for about 7 weeks over the summer. I was in the summer program for the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I liked LA. Like, it was a really good time, and I met a lot of really great people, and I got to do a lot of fun work. But especially for me, where it's somebody who gets like kind of nervous just driving around in a city in general, you can't live in LA if you do not have a car. The public transport is garbage, and you just kind of can't get anywhere if you don't have a car.
Yeah,
and that's an issue. I don't have a car. I've been relying on CTA basically all 2.5 years that I've been out here so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I'm planning on moving out there next year, so
you got to get that car, my guy.
Yeah, I had a car, but some asshole hit me last year.
That's a fat yikes, my guy. That's a rather large.
Ironically, the night I got home,
yeah,
me and my sister and my godmom, we were driving to see Spider-Verse because they hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah,
I went to a pre-screening.
Oh hell yeah! You were at the one through Columbia?
Yes.
Yeah.
Loved it. Fantastic movie.
I saw it in theater twice. It's perfect.
I saw it 3 times.
Hell
I have a DVD. But yeah, anyway, so we're leaving the gas station and we're going to go straight to the movie theater.
Yeah.
We as we're making the turn into the oncoming lane, this guy's coming towards us, but he has his lights on, and he's signaling that he's going right, but he still goes in the same lane.
Yeah.
And it smacks right into us.
Fuck.
Yeah, it was shit, and he hit my side too.
Oh no! Oh shit, man.
But it wasn't the worst accident I've ever been in.
I've been in 5. I've been in 5, and only 3 of them were my fault. I will 100% say that. I know that 2 of them were absolutely not. 3 of them were.
Yeah, see, back home in Memphis, we have a problem with driving and accidents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I'll say 50% of people driving don't have insurance.
No. That sounds about right.
Yeah. And even though they're trying to put in a whole bunch of they're trying to buckle down on regulation when it comes to insurance.
You gotta get insurance, man.
I'm fine, but I'm just saying in general back home. And so usually when I see people driving down the street, I can tell who doesn't have insurance because most I'll just be driving on the interstate and people have all 4 of their windows busted out, have some plastic on there.
Yeah. Say
fuck it. But going back to stuff about you.
Yeah.
Who you say is one of your what is your one of your biggest inspirations
for acting? You would say, or just in general?
Just in general.
Shit. I'm gonna go with the acting one. Just who's my acting who I get a lot of my technique from, and it's kind of weird, but I do have an explanation for it.
Hit me with it.
Steve from Blue's Clues is my main acting inspiration. Here's the reason why. This is the reason why, though. One of the things that they impressed upon us when I went to AADA, because before AADA, I knew I had the ability in me to be a decent actor, but those 7 weeks absolutely helped me a ton. And the thing that I needed to focus, that they told me that I wanted to work on as much as possible, and it's been helping me ever since. So much of acting is just listening and making sure that they can tell that you're listening to the other person and making that conversation feel absolutely real. And Steve had to be able to show that he was listening so well, because he's talking to pieces of cardboard on a green screen and then talking directly to the people, talking to the kids that the show is for. You see him looking at you, and I remember being a kid and seeing he's if I say something, he can hear me and he's definitely listening to me. And I just wanted to take that and put it into what I'm doing as much as I possibly can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have a specific genre of work that you are I don't know, a field of whatever acting you want to do?
I love to I like doing film. I like doing theater as well. The thing about theater is that you always feel you're really working to even if there's downtime, you really do feel you're working. But on film set, there's so much waiting where it just gets,
because you got the sound, you got
you got to set up the camera and everything, and it just kind of gets tedious after a while. But I definitely do want to end up breaking more into film because, I want to have more of a profile and just be able to do more interesting work, and also that's where the money is. But I think I recently even in 2017, it was recent in 2017 when I really started getting into horror. One of the things that I'd love to do is just be able to play I feel I could play an inmate really, really well. I have a Joker vibe, but I hate saying that now because of
the
new movie. Yeah. The new movie where it's just I know exactly what people end up thinking. They think about neckbeards on Reddit posting memes that say oh, when I was a kid I used to believe in Batman, but now I see that the Joker is more realistic and how people really feel. But I kind of
You sympathize with him a little more.
It's not that I sympathize with him. It's just that I know that I can play crazy, at least a little bit. I can play crazy fairly well, or at least what Hollywood's idea of crazy is. But then, like I look at myself, like I know what my vibe is. I know, like, I'm dark-haired, curly white boy of the month. Like, I know that that's the vibe that I give. I had this joke for a while where I wanted to get Harry Styles back into the boy band business by having a boy band with me, him, Pete Davidson, and Timothée Chalamet, and the band would be called From 50 Feet Away, All Four of These Men Are Equally Attractive. But like, it's
a long name.
It's a very long name, yeah.
I want to like get some like an acronym or something for that.
You get, like, I feel like if we had merch, we'd only be able to do flags. Like, that's how long the name for it is. But, like, I do know the vibe that I give, like, with nose, like, I've got the nose ring and the brown curly hair that's, like, kind of hipstery, and, like, I know that I've got the bags under my eyes that make it look like I haven't slept in a month or something like I know.
This is the millennial aesthetic now.
Yeah, I give off that, like, I definitely give off that, like, kind of, like, skater, like,
skater boy
hipstery look that will, like, the kind of guy that will talk your ear off about Arctic Monkeys or anything. Like, when you go on a Tinder date with him and he just never stops talking about, like, the Smiths or anything like that. I know that's the vibe I give off, and I can play it fairly well. I just want to make that kind of person more sympathetic and ideally make him not the main focus of the movie, because I genuinely do want to play. I feel like I'm more of a character actor than I am a leading role. Like, I'd love to do a lead at some point, but
what would be like a role that you would love to play? Like, if you were to ask me, like, what role or what franchise you would like to be in as the lead, what would it be?
Marvel just bought Fox, and
of course
they'd love to be able, and, like, they're gonna be putting in the X-Men eventually. I want to play Nightcrawler so bad. I want to get that, because the only other person who I could think of to possibly play him would be Anton Yelchin, but he's dead now, unfortunately. So it's my time to step up, boy. I gotta get that.
We gotta work on your accent first.
Gotta get that accent back up. Absolutely. I'd love to be able to play Nightcrawler. He's always been one of my favorite superheroes, just in general. I'd like to be able to play Quicksilver, but then they killed him in Age of Ultron already, so there's no...
Well, you never know with how Endgame ended.
That's true.
You never know who's alive and who's dead.
You never know who's alive except Scarlett Johansson, because they don't want to deal with her ass anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, I mean, they want to deal with... she's still going to be in the Black Widow movie. It's not about her, but she is going to be in the Black Widow movie, but also, like... I wouldn't want that heat after, but, like, she just frustrates me so much. Just keep your mouth shut. We know that you like Woody Allen. We know that you don't care about the image that you're putting off when you say that you want to be cast as these characters, but just, like, keep it to yourself. Just take the heat off of yourself, please.
Just keep your hot takes to yourself.
Please, yes.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Like, so going back to, like, Nightcrawler for just a second, like, obviously, like, I read comics a lot. I'm a big comic book fan. So, like, what draws you to that character specifically?
I've always just been kind of attracted to... It's a color thing, really, where, like, he's got that, like, cool, like, dark blue gothic thing going on, and it's just something that I've always been attracted to. Like, I was a kid...
This whole aesthetic.
The whole aesthetic. Like, I was the kid who first crush as a kid was Raven from Teen Titans. That's just...
That's everybody's crush.
Yeah. That gothic vibe is just always something that I've been... attracted to. Like, I'm wearing my girlfriend's Blackcraft hoodie right now, and it just, like, straight up has what is probably Satan on it. Like, that like gothic punk vibe, I've always been drawn to it, and Nightcrawler just exudes that completely. Like, with the, like, dark hair, blue skin, the eyeliner and everything. It's always been just really cool. And he's dark, but he's also a sweetie, and I really like that, because that's kind of the vibe that I've been trying to give off my whole life.
So you want to be Nightcrawler?
Yeah.
Just in real life?
In real life, I'm attracted to people that I want to be in real life.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go play, like, a quick game.
Cool.
So you're going to name one actor that you would love to work with on a project, and one that you would hate to work with.
Okay. One actor that I'd love to work with. Oh, damn, that's hard. I don't really think about... That's something that I need to work on, actually, because I don't think about who I'd love to work with at any point. I think about who I'd hate to work with a lot more than I think about who I'd love to work with, because I just assume that everybody who I don't hear about is, like, a decent person for the most part. But Shameik Moore seems like he's a pretty cool dude. I just want to hang out with him, I think, more than...
And who's that?
He's the dude, he's in Let It Snow, he was in Dope, and he's the voice of Miles Morales in
Oh my god, yeah. That's like, I know that name somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, like, I've just known about him. He was on... do you remember Incredible Crew on Cartoon Network? He was on that with Jeremy Shada, who does the voice of Finn from Adventure Time.
He sure was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he sure was.
Damn. I'm old, people. I'm sorry.
No worries. But yeah, Shameik Moore would be really cool to work with. Everybody wants to work with Zendaya. Everybody. She just seems like the coolest person alive, basically. Like, I just want to be... Most of the people that I want to work with are just because I want to hang out with them in real life. Mm-hmm. In terms of people that I don't want to hang... and that I would hate to work with, it's complicated because I wanted to be... For a long time, I wanted to be both actor and a musician, but the musician thing is kind of like taking a back burner because I realized I'm not good at it. Mm-hmm. But Jared Leto was a hero of mine for a really long time because he has his acting stuff, and he also has 30 Seconds to Mars, which is a band that I really, really liked and I really, really admired. But just after the whole Suicide Squad thing, it just seems... I don't want to have to deal with that.
You mean with like him, like the weird, strange ass gifts and
the
shit?
Weird gifts and everything. Like method acting. Like the thing about method acting, because for those who listen to this who don't know, Jared Leto, when he was doing Suicide Squad, when he was preparing for the role of the Joker, he was method acting as the Joker, which is like inhabiting the character both on screen and while you're still on set, but like off camera and everything. Like he would have, like, you have people basically like address you as your character and treat you like you are your character. And Jared Leto's way of specifically getting into it was like mailing dead rats and used condoms and shit to his fellow co-stars and everything, and just making everybody's life a nightmare. And it's just one of the things about method acting, like specifically nowadays, that I think it's just kind of been taken out of what it's used specifically for people to be assholes. Mm-hmm. Like with Jim Carrey, like he did that. There was a documentary that came out about when he was in Man on the Moon playing Andy Kaufman, and it's just horror story after horror story of him just being like a real dick to everybody. And like you have people who do it correctly, like Daniel Day-Lewis, who like is still very respectful to everybody that he works with, despite trying to maintain his character as much as possible. But when it comes to like Jared Leto or Jim Carrey or even Heath Ledger when he was method acting as Joker, I feel like it can be really damaging, not only to the other people around you, but in Heath Ledger's case, it can be really damaging to yourself, because that role, like, obviously he had other stuff going on, but like that role kind of just pushed him over the edge, and now he's no longer with us. And that's the kind. It sucks, man, because 10 Things I Hate About You is one of my... Like, I love his performance in Dark Knight, obviously. 10 Things I Hate About You is one of my favorite movies of all time, and he's so good in it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I never watched that movie.
It's based off of... It's this movie, I think it's like 2003, something like that. It was about... It's a retelling of Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare, which... a lot of movies were doing in the 90s and early 2000s. A lot of people were just reworking Shakespeare scripts. But this girl wants to date Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but she can't date. Her father's like, you can't date unless both of you are dating somebody, which is very weird. But so the girl played by, what the hell is her name? Julia Stiles. She ends up trying to date. She gets pursued by Heath Ledger's character, who Joseph Gordon-Levitt has asked out Julia Stiles so that Joseph Gordon-Levitt can date her sister. And it's just really, really cute. And I want it to be Broadway has been doing this thing for so long now, where they're just turning movies into musicals. I want there to be a 10 Things I Hate About You musical so bad, but I also don't, because there's a really great scene in the movie where Heath Ledger sings Can't Take My Eyes Off of You by Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, and they wouldn't be able to use that because of Jersey Boys, which is the Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons musical. And so that part of the movie wouldn't be able to be used in the musical, so what's the damn point?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that going back to my main point, just anybody who like uses method acting or acting in general as an excuse to be a dick to anybody, that's the main kind of person that I don't want to hang out with on set. Because you're acting, a lot of acting just really depends on the people that you're with. It's a joint project. It's such a collaborative art form. Unless you're doing a one person show or something, you have to be working with other people.
And you want to make sure you don't like tarnish that reputation with yourself, and make sure you be respectful of other people, because even after this project, you don't know if you're going to work with these people again, and you don't want that reputation.
You don't want that reputation, and also if everybody on set is annoyed and angry and just wants to get everything done as quickly as possible, like the work that you're putting out is not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And so just don't be a dick on set, and I will be happy to work with you.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Most of the time on set that I've been on like sets or in like shows and everything, like people have been very, very cool for the most part. That I think that those people are kind of a rarity, or at least I'm hoping that they're going to become more of a rarity as time goes on.
Yeah, but also with just like method acting as well, you have to understand like in some cases that really affects like your mental health as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know like I'm not like in the business like full time or anything like that, but I know that if you're going to like be doing all this extra like crazy stuff, not just like with like method acting, but I know like some actors, they like lose like a whole bunch of weight.
Yeah, that's really, really.
And like trying to do that within like a certain span of time, that can really affect you like physically and mentally. So
going back to Jared Leto, there was that movie. It was called like 27 Hours or something. It was the one where he was playing the guy who shot John Lennon, and he gained a ton of weight for the movie. And it was really like, he basically developed an eating disorder because of the movie, and he ended up he got gout because of how much weight he ended up gaining for the movie. And also it just like, that just goes into another thing where like people are afraid to like, a lot of the times it's like people like getting in fat suits or like gaining a ton of weight for the movie. Just cast a fat person, and stop shaming people for their bodies, you asshole.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I kind of want to be, that's one of the main reasons why I want to be more character actor, I think, is just because like no one needs another movie about a person who looks like me. I want to be able to like be on the sidelines a little bit more so that people who don't look like tired white boys can have their actual stories told.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know people might ask you this a lot. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That is, hopefully, I really do want to be working more. I don't know if I want to be necessarily living in LA or New York all the time, because I really am happy in Chicago. Like, I could see myself living here for a really long time, but you kind of have to go to LA or New York. That's kind of just where the work is. But I see myself like more trying to fly out to New York and LA and just getting my agent and getting an agent in one of those places and just
like flying there for shoots and stuff.
Yeah, fly there, live out there for a little while, and then hopefully come back to Chicago for a little while. Chicago and just live out here, because I really do love this area. I'd love to be just like, I make this joke with my girlfriend that I'd love to be her shitty hipstery Wicker Park boyfriend with like the terrible facial hair and the flannel and like 2 cats and the pug named Bulbasaur.
Oh, nice.
Bulbasaur, like I made like, we have like our plan for like the pets that we would have if when we end up moving in together, and she gets to name the cats, but I get to name the dog, and I've immediately decided that we're getting a pug and we're naming it Bulbasaur, and there's nothing that anybody can do about it.
That's your furry babies? That's
my fur babies, absolutely.
Nice. I remember we talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
And your love of music, and I wanted to ask you if there's one band.
Oh God, I've been dreading this question.
If there's one band that you can bring back for one tour, whether all the members are just like alive or dead, who? Like, which band would that be?
If you had asked me this question a month ago, I would have a completely easy answer. My Chemical Romance, they had been broken up since 2013, and I would have absolutely said them. But on Halloween, they announced a reunion show, and there's most likely a tour coming, so they already are reuniting, so I can't use that one. And the thing, a lot of the bands that I like figured were gonna break up at some point, like I figured they were never gonna be able to see them. They've done reunion tours and stuff, so it's basically an inevitability. But the only one that I can think of that probably isn't gonna reunite again. Do you know Modern Baseball?
No. Wait. Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah. They're a really amazing emo band out of, I think, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. They were around for from 2011, I think, and then they broke up in 2017. But their 3 albums, Sports, You're Gonna Miss It All, and Holy Ghost, are some of the absolute best the genre has to offer. I think so many bands that exist right now would not exist if modern baseball hadn't laid the groundwork for what they were doing. I would love to see them come back eventually.
Okay. I know I have a few of their songs, but I haven't really looked into it.
The main things that if you're going to try to get into them, my recommendations would be there's if I had to choose my top 5 favorite songs by them, it would probably be Cheers Over Beers, The Weeknd, Your Graduation, Wedding Singer, and Mass are the 5 songs that I would recommend from modern baseball, and that kind of covers their entire discographies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might check that out.
Yeah. I just really love them. I almost saw them in 2015 or 2016. They were with it was Brand New and the Front Bottoms of modern baseball, and I almost went up to Portland where my grandma lives, and I would have just stayed with her and seen them, but I ended up not doing it. I have managed to see the other 2 bands. Unfortunately, Brand New didn't work out too well because 3 weeks after I saw them, it was during the Me Too movement, and 3 weeks after I saw them, it was revealed that their lead singer Jesse Lacey had solicited nudes from a 15-year-old, and it was when he was 26, and it was very bad and broke my heart completely.
Oh no.
Yeah. The Me Too movement was very bad for the pop punk scene. This is a weird way to end the podcast. I will completely admit this, but it turns out if you get a lot of shitty white boys who sing mostly about their personal problems, that you're gonna find a lot of bad people in that group. Right. And a lot of them have been luckily kicked out of their respective bands, but there are a couple of them that are still floating around and still getting a lot of press. Mm-hmm. Despite what people know about them already.
Is it because their fame?
Mostly their fame, but even some of the smaller bands, they will. I don't want to name names or anything because I don't want to get you blown up by certain stands of these bands or anything. But they are, because emos are, as one myself, we're fucking vicious. We will.
I know I'm dating one. So. Trust me, I know.
That's exactly the look that I know that look because my girlfriend's a metalhead and she has that exact same look about me every single day of my life whenever I make jokes about My Chemical Romance or anything or any of my bullshit.
She's the same way.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really weird seeing all of these groups just kind of because it's a lot of the scene, a lot of the main people in this, a lot of the big names in the scene have been hit in some way. Mm-hmm. Pierce the Veil, their drummer, was outed. Front Porch Step was back in 2015. It was revealed that he was doing weird shit with underage fans, and he's still mostly had his career, but he also got kicked off of he also hasn't really been able to do a whole lot since then. But mm-hmm. There's a lot of bands With Confidence is going to be playing relatively soon, and their lead singer and their guitarist, they kicked out their guitarist, but the lead singer is still in the band, and he was accused of shit too, and they're still touring, and they're going to be here this month, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's just a lot going on.
It's a lot going on. It's a weird thing to try to navigate, I guess, because you want to be able to let people deal with their own stuff, but also you need to make sure that repercussions are had for the people that have done these really shitty things.
Yeah. I think when it comes to just having fame and choosing who do you idolize until underlying shit under them.
Yeah.
So I'll just say it always comes down to just being careful who you see as a role model.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or just who you want to put into your life, whether it be an actor or a musician.
In the meantime, stand unproblematic kings modern baseball who have never done anything wrong ever. Hopefully nothing bad comes out as soon as this podcast goes up.
All right.
Yep.
Well, any last words to the listeners at home?
If you're listening in the Chicago area, I will be playing John N. in the Columbia College Chicago production of Failure a Love Story. It will be running from February 14th to the 22nd of February. So Valentine's Day or after that, if you want to have a real fun date with your person, or if you just want to see some good theater, just come on to I believe it's at the main theater building on 72 East 11th.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you're a Columbia student, you get in free, which is always great.
Just plug that.
Plug that real quick. Got to get the promo going.
I would love to have some promos out here.
Hell yeah.
I would love to have a sponsor, but
please sponsor my man's Audible, Squarespace.
Squarespace. Well, before everybody dips out, I just want to say thank you for all our listeners on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're listening to this, whether you're at home, in the car, or just at work chilling. I just wanted to really just show my appreciation for tuning in for this long, checking out the channel, just really showing your support. It really means a lot to me. And while I'm still in the midst of figuring out what direction I want to take this channel, whether it be hopefully for the better, I just thank you for your patience, and I really thank you for your support. And yeah, all right. Well, all right. It's always good having you here, man.
Thank you, man. This has been great. This is awesome.
I'll catch you all later.